Judas Iscariot is known throughout history as the ultimate villain, the betrayer. His name alone evokes feelings of treachery. But before we label him irredeemable, we need to rewind the story and truly understand who Judas was. Judas was not just a random traitor. He was handpicked by Jesus as one of the 12 disciples. Pause for a moment and consider that fact. Jesus deliberately chose Judas. For over 3 years, Judas lived closely with Jesus, heard his teachings, witnessed miracles firsthand, and shared intimate meals alongside Peter, John, and the other disciples. Judas was not a distant outsider. He was trusted, even entrusted as the group's treasurer responsible for managing their money. Imagine being trusted with the group's money, a clear sign of integrity. Among 12 men handpicked by Jesus, Judas was chosen to handle their finances, which suggests he was viewed as mature, responsible, and deeply trustworthy. Picture Judas, calm, composed, reliable. He probably spoke wisely, managed disputes smoothly, and earned respect naturally from the other disciples. No one suspected him. Judas didn't look like a traitor. He blended seamlessly with the others, presenting an image of honesty and loyalty. And that's precisely what makes deception so dangerous. It doesn't come wearing a costume. It appears ordinary, respectable, even admirable. Think about it in our own lives. How often do people around us, or even ourselves, project a perfect image, hiding private struggles or secret sins beneath a polished exterior? Judas's story challenges us to examine beyond appearances. Integrity isn't measured by how trustworthy someone seems on the outside, but by the quiet choices made when nobody is watching. Judas's outward trustworthiness masked a silent corrosion within, a warning that deception can lurk behind even the most convincing facade. So how did Judas move from trusted friend to infamous betrayer? The Bible reveals Judas wasn't always driven by darkness, but he had a dangerous flaw. Beneath his outward appearance of loyalty, he secretly harbored greed. Scripture tells us Judas would quietly steal small amounts from the group's money bag, slowly but steadily. What started as tiny compromises grew into something uncontrollable. This teaches an essential truth: evil rarely appears suddenly. It often starts with subtle decisions and hidden weaknesses, quietly growing until it takes control. Sin rarely announces itself as evil. It whispers gently, rationalizing its existence. Judas likely didn't see himself as a villain at first. Perhaps he quietly told himself, "I've sacrificed everything to follow Jesus. I've served faithfully, traveled constantly, and worked tirelessly without recognition. I deserve a little something for myself. These few coins are nothing compared to my efforts." We've all heard a version of this inner voice. Maybe it's greed justifying dishonesty at work. "I'm underpaid. No one will notice if I skim a little." Or pride rationalizing criticism of others. "I'm just being honest. I deserve respect." Maybe it's lust whispering softly, "I'm lonely, and this isn't hurting anyone." Like Judas, we convince ourselves small compromises are harmless, earned, or justified. But each tiny choice reshapes our character silently. What starts as a quiet whisper soon grows louder until it drowns out our better judgment completely. Judas's story warns us. If we keep rationalizing our hidden sins, eventually those rationalizations will define us. The hidden journey of Judas. To fully grasp Judas's path to betrayal, we must examine the complexity of his internal world and the political atmosphere of his time. Judas, like many Jews of his era, lived under the heavy burden of Roman occupation. Many eagerly anticipated a Messiah who would liberate them through military and political power. This cultural expectation deeply influenced Judas's perspective, shaping his interactions with Jesus and affecting his understanding of Jesus' teachings and actions. Initially, Judas might have seen in Jesus the fulfillment of nationalistic hopes, a leader who would rally Israel against Rome. He likely envisioned a powerful uprising, imagining himself playing a pivotal role in a glorious revolution. But as time passed, Judas began noticing a disconnect between his vision and the reality of Jesus' mission. Jesus consistently taught about a spiritual kingdom rather than an earthly one, emphasizing humility, forgiveness, and sacrifice, values that seemed incompatible with overthrowing Roman rule. Over time, Judas's frustration may have grown as Jesus showed little interest in political revolution. Each teaching about peace and humility perhaps felt increasingly disconnected from Judas's expectations. The mounting disillusionment created fertile ground for resentment. Judas might have started feeling betrayed himself, sensing that Jesus was abandoning the collective hopes of his people for liberation. Adding to this internal tension was Judas's struggle with greed. Entrusted as treasurer, Judas's position gave him unique power and temptation. As he pilfered small sums unnoticed, his moral compass began to skew gradually. Perhaps each theft justified itself, initially minor, perhaps excused by rationalizations like entitlement or unmet expectations. With each compromise, Judas became more comfortable living in deception, gradually losing sensitivity to right and wrong. His moral deterioration aligned perfectly with his growing political frustration. Judas's expectations of wealth, power, and national freedom collided sharply with the spiritual and sacrificial path Jesus was modeling. These dual disappointments, political ambition and personal greed, began intertwining deeply, creating a powerful internal crisis. The tipping point came not suddenly but steadily, as Judas's frustration turned to bitterness, then anger, and ultimately to a desperate attempt to force Jesus' hand. By betraying Jesus, Judas might have thought he could provoke him into action to finally reveal his true power as Messiah. Tragically, Judas misjudged Jesus' intentions entirely, misunderstanding the nature of true power as Jesus embodied it, through sacrifice, humility, and redemption. This journey highlights a critical lesson. Our hidden motives and expectations deeply shape our actions. When unmet expectations become resentment, and resentment mixes with hidden sins, the result is often disastrous. Judas's journey illustrates the profound danger of harboring hidden bitterness and unchecked ambitions. A crucial turning point occurred during a dinner recorded in John 12. Mary poured incredibly expensive perfume onto Jesus' feet, perfume worth an entire year's wages. She was fully devoted, worshiping Jesus extravagantly. Judas quickly objected. Why wasn't this perfume sold and given to the poor? It sounded noble, but the Bible immediately clarifies Judas's true intent. He wasn't concerned about the poor. He wanted more money available to steal. This incident exposed Judas's hidden priority: money over devotion, personal gain over worship. On the surface, his words seemed noble, even selfless. Beneath this righteous-sounding language lurked purely selfish motives. How often do we, like Judas, mask our selfish desires behind virtuous-sounding words? Maybe we criticize someone under the guise of constructive feedback, but secretly enjoy tearing them down. Perhaps we withhold generosity, claiming we're being wise, when in reality, it's just reluctance or greed. Contrast Judas's false compassion with Mary's genuine act of worship, her extravagant devotion offered without hidden motives or agenda. In this powerful contrast, we see ourselves clearly. It's a mirror moment, challenging us to ask honestly, which one am I acting more like? Mary, who gave freely from a pure heart, or Judas, hiding selfishness behind religious words? It's crucial to realize Jesus was never deceived by Judas. Long before the betrayal in John 6, Jesus openly stated, "Have I not chosen you, the 12? Yet one of you is a devil." Jesus fully understood Judas's heart, yet he still treated him with compassion, washing his feet, sharing bread, even calling him friend. Consider how profound it was that Jesus still called Judas friend, knowing fully what was about to happen. When Jesus knelt to wash Judas's feet, an act typically reserved for servants, he was not just demonstrating humility, he was embodying a love that goes beyond human logic. To wash someone's feet was to honor them, to serve them. But to do it for someone about to betray you? That's an unimaginable depth of compassion. Reflect on that moment. Would you serve someone you knew would ruin your life? Could you look into their eyes and still choose kindness, knowing their betrayal was just moments away? This is exactly what Jesus did. It shows a love that is far deeper than betrayal, more powerful than resentment, stronger than bitterness. Jesus' actions reveal something radical. His love does not depend on our goodness or loyalty. Even at Judas's lowest, darkest moment, Jesus extended grace and compassion, teaching us that true love isn't earned, it's freely given, even to those who least deserve it. Why did Jesus continue treating Judas kindly, knowing betrayal was coming? Because Jesus wasn't trying to avoid betrayal, he was fulfilling prophecy. Psalm 41:9 foretold betrayal by a close friend who shared bread. Zechariah 11 predicted precisely the 30 pieces of silver Judas would later accept. Judas acted from his own free will, yet his actions aligned perfectly with God's larger redemptive plan. The remaining text continues unchanged.